Alright guys, and we are back with more Assassin's Creed 3, as I'm sure you can see. It is currently 8:09 p.m., so it is a whole hell of a lot earlier than it usually is when we record, but the reason for that is because I can't see Dick. The reason for that is because, I went the wrong way. It's because, I haven't recorded in like 2 days. Which might not seem like a big deal, but I meant to record on both of those days. And I didn't, because I just didn't feel like it. I had a long day on both days, and I just didn't have it in me to record. So I just kept putting it off, and it backfired, because now I need to, well, I don't need to, but I need the footage to keep my backlog going. So here we are, recording at 8 p.m. If you hear any background noise, I apologize. It is 8, which means people are still awake. As opposed to when we record at midnight and no one's awake, but me.
With all we had, it would take too long. 1,000 years we could labor and still the work would not be done.
Wait for the cousin to finish and we'll talk some more. Be responsible and all that.
The tower was never completed. The project abandoned. We moved on. But while we labored on other endeavors, a few returned. They thought to automate the process. Metal might finish what flesh could not.
Oh, is that all? Okay, good talk, Juno. Really appreciate you interrupting me like that. Anyways. Yeah, so I had it in my head to get the recording done now, at 8, because, at 11, is when we do our usual, or when we're supposed to do our usual anime watch parties, so, figure get it done now, and then I'd have time I'd still be able to join the watch party.
If we could not meet the sun's cruel embrace, perhaps we might rebuke it. Already we could generate the fields to protect us in times of strife. But these were small and simple things. To replicate them on a scale the size of a world. We lack the energy to make it so. Half the world, they said then. It is better than none at all. We tried. Again, we failed. A quarter, they asked. Even this we could not do. A sixth, an eighth, a tenth, they cried. The answer was still the same. Perhaps in time a city might be spared. But it was time we did not have. So we moved on.
What are you trying to get at, Juno? You trying to tell me that you guys were fucked? Like what? I don't get why you keep keep showing up to me like this.
Only one way to find out.
Your time is over. It's our time now. That side's open now, but we don't have a power block for it, so no real point in going that way. Now we can give it a try, see if she shows up and talks to us again. We can wait a bit before going back to Connor. We still need to talk to everybody anyways.
What is a fact? Is it fixed? Immutable? Certain in its existence and only awaiting discovery? Or might it be changed? Here we learned the answer, and thought that it might save us. They were used to command. to control,
The fucking apples.
to own. But we soon discovered another use. When enough sat in thrall and were told to believe, their thoughts took on form. What was imagined became real. If 100 minds could wish away a wall or create a tree, what might 1,000 do? 10,000? More? Might we change the consensus and will the thread away? We resolved to send one into the sky where it might illuminate us all. Once placed, a sentence would be uttered. Make us safe. In this way, we would change the consensus. We would save the world. But it never came to be. We sent a dozen of them skyward, but there was no way to maintain control, to direct the beam, to enthrall the world, to speak the words. Though this was strange and dangerous, what we tried next was worse.
I feel like she just admitted that the Templars are fucked, because isn't their plan to put an Apple of Eden on a rocket and just launch into space? She just said that never worked for them, so why would it work for the Templars? Then again, they tend to be wrong. Quite often they are wrong.
Our first instinct was to travel back, to change the past. But we could not find a way. But forward, we could look forward. And so here we sought to see beyond ourselves, and know what was to come. First we watched to learn if our work would succeed. But the answer was always the same, so we moved on to other things. But she remained. The one you call Minerva. In time, she too stopped looking, and instead began to speak. She called out across time, in the hopes that you might...
Ezio! He was not wearing that outfit when that happened.
Save for you and those within this place.
Fascinating.
Tired of it. The cryptic warnings, the threats. Just tell us what you want!
But they are. We saw the Nephilim there. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them. Imagine trying to explain all this to a 2-year-old, to a grasshopper. When they said the will of the gods was unknowable, they meant it. Literally.
Can he hear her too? Is it not just me?
I killed her, you know. I killed Lucy.
It was the apple, son. It was Juno.
I saw what she was. What would happen if I let her live? I could have stopped myself. I mean, there was a force there. But I didn't have to. I chose to.
Desmond.
Lucy was going to betray us and take the apple back to Abstergo. I saw the satellite launched. I saw them turn it on, and then... it failed.
Oh, wait, no, there you go.
Whatever's on the other side of that door, it benefits Juno. We need to be careful.
Well, we don't really know much about Juno yet. Oh, well, actually, to be fair, we don't really know much about any of them. Oh, another yawn. Okay, here we go. Sorry, everybody. Just know how I get whenever I record. It's get immediately tired. It's actually been a pretty chill day for me so far. I haven't really done much. Went to the store, got gas. Did a bit of cooking, and that's about it. I didn't really do much. I did decide to give Dark Souls 2 another try. I am not a big fan of that game. It is the only Dark Souls game I've only ever beaten once. I've beaten all the other ones, and by that I mean 1 and 3, more than once. Beaten them quite a few times. 2 I only ever beat once, and only ever beat the original release. So it's original Dark Souls 2, not Scholar of the First Sin, not any DLC, just the original base game. I beat it, and I didn't like it, so I never played it again. But time has passed, and I'm trying to give it another chance. You never know, my memory of it might not be accurate.
Ah, Desmond, there you are. Can I ask a favor?
Maybe?
When this is all over, I'd like to try turning the dial back on the Animus. Like, all the way back. To the time of the first civilization.
You think it would work?
There was no real loss of fidelity when you visited Altair. Then again, that was about 1,000 years ago, and I'm looking at going back at least 70,000 more.
Sure, I'd be up for it. Be interesting to see what things were like back then.
Excellent. I think it would prove most enlightening.
Well,
So this is
I mean,
how it started.
they do later on manage to go, like,
Just brushing up on my American
to the
history.
BC era.
They certainly teach you strange things in the States.
Like what?
Well, for all the talk of this being a revolutionary war, it was a civil one. Well, not that kind of civil. I mean, there was no America versus Britain. It was Brit on Brit action. And you can clearly see how the whole thing got started. One war gave birth to the other.
You mean the 7 Years' War?
Exactly. Seems the Crown overspent in its attempt to keep the French out, wound up with a great deal of debt. Believing that the colonists should help to shoulder the burden, new taxes were created. It was a reasonable request, even if Parliament was rather, well, undiplomatic about it.
You would take the
It's not
stance,
really
wouldn't
fair
you?
to tax people for a war they didn't want any part of.
What? Didn't want any part of? Did you not notice George Washington with Edward Braddock? He was right there in the middle of it. So here you have the Crown spending who knows how much money to secure a place for the colonists to thrive, and then, when they ask for a little bit of help... Right, look, think of it this way. King George and the colonists, they all go out to dinner, right? And when the bill comes, George asks for them to kick in and pay their share. Fair enough. But keep in mind, he's been taking them out to dinner gratis for decades now. But the colonists, oh no, they insist they only had a glass of water and a side salad. Never mind the table's full of half-eaten food and empty bottles of wine. Now when the king points this out, what do the colonists do? Oh, they flip the table over and they storm out the restaurant. Probably intending to return later and burn it down.
You left out the part where the king pointed a gun at the colonists and asked them to cover dinner for everyone in the restaurant.
Right, yeah, interesting take. If he pulled out a gun, and I'm not sure he did, it would only have been after the 100th failed attempt at getting them to pay their fair share.
But how do you define someone's fair share?
Oh, well, with a war, apparently.
Sean, not gonna lie. Trash take.
I wonder how many other places like this exist.
There are dozens of them, all over the world.
And somehow no one's ever found one before us.
I don't think that's true.
Oh?
When I was at Abstergo, Vidic talked about silencing discoveries made by non-Templars. And I'm sure Abstergo has dug up plenty.
The things they must know.
Regretting throwing in with us?
No.
They don't know enough.
Looking forward to when we can finally trounce those bastards so I can dive into their archives. Oh, I think I found a lead on another power source.
Well, Sean, they're gonna be waiting for quite a while because 8 games later, they're still not defeated. Come here, Bill. We gotta talk.
Son, I owe you an apology. I shouldn't have lashed out like that. You have to understand, I've never been very good at this. Never mind that we live rather extraordinary lives.
Yeah, I kinda liked my ordinary one.
You can't escape who you are, Desmond.
So I've noticed.
Look, it's silly for us to go back and forth like this. I admit, I did a shitty job raising you. I apologize, I'm sorry. But it's important you understand it didn't come from a bad place. You're my son. I love you. I guess I was so busy trying to make sure nothing bad happened, I didn't consider the consequences.
You know, he certainly could, like, definitely escape
Truce.
his past if people didn't keep dragging him into it.
I can't believe it's
Or
taken
back
me
into
so
it.
long to ask, but how's Mom? She's not.
No. Your mother is fine. We decided it was safer if we split up for this job.
Always assuming the worst.
For good reason.
Can I at least say hi to her?
I'm sorry, it's too risky. Maybe when we're done.
Right. When we're done.
Stop walking away from me. We're not done talking yet.
Have we ever tried to make peace with the Templars?
Throughout our history, there have been moments. Several, in fact. But it's impossible. There are existential differences, insurmountable. If there were to be unity, it wouldn't be a truce so much as a submission.
But knowing what's about to happen, wouldn't it make sense to try and talk to Vidic? Come to an arrangement, even if it's only temporary?
We'd all be so busy watching our backs, nothing would get accomplished. Imagine that. We're more productive at war.
Well, have we ever tried sending in someone? Doing to them what they did to us with Lucy? Or Cross?
We have, and it's never worked. We've sent people who were either too weak and found themselves turned, or too strong and were unable to carry out the charade.
I just feel like we all want the same thing.
We use the same words, but that's all they are, words. In the end, it all comes down to freedom. We seek it, they detest it. And so there's never an end to the fight. Not until one side is completely gone.
Is that even possible?
Probably not. Our two groups have existed in one form or another since, well, since forever. But things can be better than they are. And that's something.
Yeah, that all you have to say? Any more?
Did you look for me, Dad?
Yep, here we go.
When I was gone?
Every day.
Come on.
I mean it. Every night I'd look, searching for your name or variations of it, hoping you'd slip up. Abstergo only found you first because they had better access. A few more days and it would have been me.
Well, I'm here now.
And I'm glad.
Do you think Lucy regretted what she was doing?
Still not done talking. Okay.
I used to think I knew her well, but clearly that wasn't the case. So I really can't give you an honest answer.
She seemed so sincere, though. Like she really wanted to make a difference.
Yes, well, when I first met him, I thought the same thing about Cross.
It just keeps happening over and over again.
What does?
Everything.
Don't get weird on me, Desmond.
No, it's fine. I'm fine. Don't worry.
All right, then. You should think about getting back in the Animus. We've got to find that key.
Okay, that sounds kind of final.
We should probably get
Yep.
back to Connor.
That's not his name. I mean, not really. Where'd Rebecca go? Oh, there, I could... God damn, Rebecca.
I know everyone thinks I'm being silly, but I can't shake the feeling we're being watched.
We are being watched. By Juno. Or some version of her.
Do you think it's a recording? Or is she a ghost? Or something else? Is she talking to us the way Minerva talked to Ezio?
No clue.